Welcome back to a new season of Follow the Rabbit. So we spent the last two seasons really starting from Toby Shoren's essay Life After Lifestyle, following some rabbit holes there, and then really digging into third places. And if you followed along, you already saw a lot of aspects that we now will focus more on that are all connected to health and a new, much more holistic understanding of health. And I mean, health has been changing, transforming for quite some time now. But we actually observing, and I think the last season added on to that, observing a fundamental paradigm shift in what health is, how we understand healthcare, how we understand well-being, and how it has a much more comprehensive definition of different aspects going into it, from spirituality to obesity treatments. And so this is what we are shifting now to, not completely forgetting what we've done before, but moving on and adding to it with a lot of different aspects and egos. So what are some signals that we're seeing, and what is the what's the overall theme that we're putting on top of?
Yeah, welcome back from my side as well. I think if you know us a little bit, like as Igor and Johannes, who've been doing work around healthcare and health tech for a long time. And I think an emphasis for us is in this one as well is the fact that the topic of health as a luxury, for example, is often treated in the headlines as a trend. But as Johannes mentioned, I think this is more a fundamental shift. And that's why it feels sometimes like a trend, but in fact, it's an underlying thing that has been going on for 30, 40 years. And we are kind of really curious and really looking forward to dig deep and also like the old stories that already have described this shift for a long time, as well as contemporary things in culture and business and technology. So in a way, what we're gonna do is talk about stuff like Bella Hadid's and Erdogan smoothie, as well as the fact that a company like Aura is buying a continuous glucose monitoring service, which is kind of interesting because this is tech that is expressing something that we personally think has started culturally a long time ago. For example, with movies like American Psycho and how Patrick Bateman, the main character, is expressing his way of treating his own body, but is especially like also looking into how the relationship between being healthy and actually having a healthy lifestyle can be quite different. And in this kind of season, we'll be looking into different things. We'll pick up on something that we already kind of like talked about a little bit in the last season about the modern gym and how it is often represented in culture, but is also how it actually is designed today, which is aesthetically fascinating because high-end gyms have really high demand, and they all kind of look like people actually wanted to go to Berghain, but ended up being sweating in a gym. We'll talk about athleisure. We'll talk about stuff, for example, why Apple thinks that they will be considered in 50 years more a health company than a tech company. And I think that's a really big one. We'll be talking about GLP-1 and basically the fact that the US has actually, for the first time, had the chance of writing something about peak obesity. So basically people have on average lost weight in the US for the first time in decades. And that's a significant milestone, but it comes with certain, drawbacks because we are talking about very expensive and very specific drugs where the context of what they're actually be doing also is not quite as researched as we might want to. So we really look forward to discussing this and all the other things that we will be finding along the way. And I think there will be plenty of those.
Yeah, for sure. I think the overarching theme is also going to be actually the role of money and business in this. So because there's just to give you an example, so we did a trend report for a pharma company in 2020, like in the middle of the pandemic, about digital health in the next 15 years. And one of the trends was health as a luxury. And like Igor mentioned, that is a trend that has been going on for some time, where things are changing, and actually like the usual like way to show how that you have money has been changing due to like discussions in society, and health has become one of those ways to show. And that changes or influences how health in general works and what's available. And this is like one of the undercurrents that we're going to spend a lot of time always coming back to, because it influences how all of us perceive health and wellness and well-being. So yeah, that's what we've got for you in the upcoming season. It's all over the place, but that's actually what health is like nowadays and what it's moving towards too. So yeah, also feel free if anything of that you find interesting or you have an opinion about, get in contact, let us know, ask questions, point us towards interesting essays or signals. And we're happy to pick that up in future episodes. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll also be having guests on this one as well. We'll be doing a few on our own, just kind of like charging the territory a little bit. But if you have ideas for guests that we should talk to, preferably not white men like ourselves, we would welcome that as well. And like and subscribe. See you later.